Lesson 4.1, Extended Multiplication Facts. You're going to need to find a rule for solving multiplication problems involving multiples of 10. So the main focus in this lesson is for you to extend multiplication facts to solve a problem, that you need to develop a rule for multiplying ones by tens and ones by hundreds, and for you to develop a rule for multiplying tens by tens. But as usual, let's start off with our mental math and fluency. Find the factors. Circle the factors that are prime. So first of all, there's two steps here. We need to find the factors of 20. You should always find two numbers when multiplied will equal the number given. So the first number you should try is 1. What number multiplied by 1 will equal 20? Well, 1 times 20. Number 2, it's an even number, so we know the number 2 will be multiplied by another number to equal 20. 2 times what is 20? 2 times 10 is 20. 3, is 3 times anything 20? Well, let's see. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 7 is 21. So 3 is not a factor of 20. 4, is 4 times anything 20? Well, yes. 4 times 5 is 20. And then we have our last two numbers that we already said. 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. As you see for this first one, the answers are already circled for what is prime. Prime means the only way through multiplication you can come up with that number is multiplying that number by the number 1 in itself. So the only way you can get number 2 is by multiplying 1 times 2. So that's circled because that's prime. 5, the only way you can get 5 through multiplying is multiplying 1 times 5. So that also is prime. The other numbers, 4, 10, and 20, are composite numbers. So again, let's look at the number 24. Instead of me sliding it over, I want you to get out a piece of paper or a whiteboard, and I want you to write down all the multiples you can, I'm sorry, I misspoke there, all the factors that you can think of that equal the number 24. So pause the recording now and quickly do that. If you need to get out a grid that shows the multiplication facts, go ahead and do so. You should have noticed 1 times 24 is 24. Again, it's an even number. It ends in a 4. So 2 times something equals 24. So what number, if you added it twice, would equal 24? Well, all I got to do is cut 24 in half. Half of 24 is 12. Again, is 3 times anything 24? Well, yeah, it is. 3 times 8 is 24. Is 4 times anything 24? Well, yes, 4 times 6 is 24. Is 5 times anything 24? No. Is 6 times anything 24? Well, yes, we already discovered that, and we're turning back around so we know we're done. Now let's look at which numbers are prime. Well, I know to get 24, we have all these other numbers that we can multiply to get it. So I know that's a composite number. Oh, I see the number 2 again. I remembered that 2 was a prime number last time, so it's going to be a prime number this time, because the only way I can get it is 1 times 2. 12. Nope, I can get 12 by doing 2 times 6 and 3 times 4, so that is a composite number. 3. Well, the only way we can get 3 through multiplying is 1 times 3, so that again is a prime number. 8. Well, I can get 8 by multiplying 2 times 4, so that makes it a composite number. The number 4 I can get by multiplying 2 times 2, so that makes 4 a composite number. And 6, I can get the number 6 by multiplying 2 times 3. So the only prime numbers for the number 24 should be 2 and 3. Let's check our answers. We did it correct. 2 and 3 were the only ones we had circle. 1 times 24 we have as a first factor pair. 2 times 12 we had as our second factor pair. 3 times 8 was our third factor pair. And 4 times 6 was our fourth factor pair. So we know that we did those correctly. And the final number, 1 and 35, again, pause the recording. When you think you have it right and finished, I want you to go back and check your answer. So pause it now while you do this, please. What I hope you notice in the first number you tried for a factor pair is 1 times 35. It is not an even number, so we are not going to multiply 2 times anything to get it. 3 times nothing goes into 35 because 3 times 10 is 30, 3 times 11 is 33, and 3 times 12 is 36. So 3 does not work. 4, well let's see, 4 times 7 is 28, 4 times 8 is 32, 4 times 9 is 36, so nothing times 4 equals 35. It ends in a 5, so I know that 5 times something is 35, so you should have noticed that 5 times 7 is 35. 6 times nothing is 35. 7 times nothing, times 5 is 35, so I'm turning around. So those are my only numbers that will equal 35. So what numbers are prime? Well, as I look, 35 we already know we can multiply 5 times 7 to get that. But the only way to get the number 5 through multiplication is 1 times 5, so that makes it prime. And the only way to get the number 7 through multiplication is 1 times 7. So I have 2 prime numbers. Let's check our answers. And we are correct. 1 times 35 was our first factor pair, and 5 times 7 was 35. That was our second factor pairs, and 5 and 7 are both prime. Nice job, students. Way to take your time to make sure that you have all the factor pairs to get that answer. So Lacey has 40 bottle caps. Donovan has 20 times as many bottle caps as Lacey. How many bottle caps does Donovan have? And be prepared to explain your answers. Well, you should notice right away that Lacey, it says, have 40 bottle caps, so you should have written down the number 40. And it says right here, Donovan has 20 times as many as Lacey. 20 times as many. How many bottle caps does Donovan have? So remember, we're going to be multiplying 40 times 20. So you could use one strategy. You could draw a bottle cap, or what looks like one, and you could write the number 40 in each one of them, and you could do that 20 times. That would be one way we could get an answer. And if you need to do that, why don't you pause the recording now, get out a sheet of paper, and draw it that way. Another way you could do it is you could look at your first two numbers, 4 times 2, multiply them, that's 8. And because both numbers end with a 0, and only if both numbers end in a 0, you can just count 1, 2, and add those numbers on to your answer behind the 8, and you will see that 40 times 20 is 800. If that is something you find a little difficult, then don't use this method. Use the strategy back here and draw 40 20 times and figure out your answer that way. Both ways are appropriate. It's whatever works best for you. Now I want you to go to your math journal, page 105. This is asking you to write a multiplication fact for the fact triangle. and then extend that fact by changing the first factor. So I'm going to walk you through this first one so you understand what it's saying. It says your original fact is 2 times 3 is 6. You should all know that when using these math fact triangles and you're multiplying, you'd get the bottom two numbers, you multiply them together, and at the top is your answer. So we know this one says 2 times 3 is 6. It says extend the fact by tens. So look at only one of these we changed to tens. So what we're doing is saying 2 times 3, again we know, is 6 because we already knew that answer. This is having me show you on the calculator. So let me try this again, is 6. But I have 1 0 here, so I should put the 0. You know what? I'm going to have to back this up. 2 times 3. You can tell I don't quite know how to use that calculator, so I'm going to do it this way. 2 times 3 is 6. And how many zeros do I have? I only have 1. So I need 1 0 my answer. So 20 times 3 equals 60. Now remember, you could have drawn 20 once, 20 twice, 20 3 times, and added them together to get this 60 if that is easier for you. That's just another strategy you can use. Another extended fact by hundreds this time. So you notice this one went to the hundreds place, 200. I would simply do 200 times 3 again is 6. And I would add 1 2 zeros. 1 2 zeros. But here again, if that is a little difficult for you, you should draw 3 times, because that's what we're multiplying by, 3. You could write the number 200 down 3 times, and you could have added them together to get your answer, because 200 plus 200 is 400, plus another 200 is 600. Finish Math Journal page 105, and this is what the Math Journal page looks like. When you've completed it, bring it up to me, and I just want to check to make sure you're understanding it. And then we're going to go on to the next activity that this lesson asks you to do. So again, extending a multiplication fact by making both factors now this time of 10. And it says, the original fact is 3 times 5, which equals 15. The extended fact is 30 times 50. Again, what we do is we multiply the tens place. 3 times 5 is 15. How many zeros do I have? 1, 2. So I add 2 zeros onto the end. Remember again, this quick method only works if both numbers end in a 0 or one ends in the 0 and the other one ends in nothing. This is Math Journal page 106. Again, this is just practice like what you did on the previous page, but this is the assessment check. So try to do this page completely on your own. Bring it up to me when you're finished. I will check it, and I will check it off on the worksheet to make sure that you understood what you were doing and that you can move on from here. Pause the recording now and do that page, please. Create a multiplication number story involving multiples of 10. Be prepared to share with me. So if you don't know what to do for sure here, step up. I'll tell you real quick and we'll take care of that. Once you've done that, the next thing that you're going to do is not play the game Rugs and Fences. I'm sorry, that's not what we're doing right now. You're going to do Math Journal page 107. Please complete this page. Go ahead and check it back at the answer key. If there was anything that you did not understand, bring it up to me and I will help you complete it. Pause the recording now and do Math Journal page 107. And the final thing you're going to do for this lesson is Math Masters page 146. This is what that page looks like. It says refer to these examples as you solve the multiplication facts. Again, 2 times 300 is 600. 3 times 300 is 900. Stop the recording now, do that page, and bring it to me.